Guys, it is another week of grosses, so let's get into it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving, and let's get into the grosses. And Juliet, and that went from 91% to 100%, and 1,104,596 last week to this week's 1,459,276, which is an incredible increase, a $354,000 increase from last week. And again, it was Thanksgiving week, so everything's gonna do extremely well. And this is one of their best weeks in a long time. A Beautiful Noise went from 63% to 56%, and 857K to this week's 759K. And again, that's not a very good sign, especially because it's supposed to be Thanksgiving, and so most musicals do well, and the fact that A Beautiful Noise didn't is very concerning. However, it made $1 million in like mid-October, so I think that the business for this is all over the place. I don't think it's going to close anytime soon, but the only way I would think it would is if it does like 600 and 500 consistently, and that's not normally the case. Back to the Future went from 77% to 97%, and $1 million last week to this week's 1,814,565, and that is insane, you know, that it had that much of an increase, you know, $770,000 increase from last week. Alone, you know, almost made 2 million. Well, didn't almost make 2 million, but it was like, it's close, you know. And yeah, I'm absolutely flabbergasted that it's doing this well, considering how bad I've heard it is. But I think that the special effects, the car, that's why it does so well. Gutenberg went from 902K to $1 million, and 84% to 94%. Hadestown went from 93% to 98%, and 712K to 955K, and that's its best week in months. So if it can continue this upward trajectory and not fall past 700K, Hadestown could survive. I don't want it to close. I've just been saying it how it is, and, you know, past few months, and in the year of 2023, Hadestown has done incredibly mediocre numbers. But I know that they're gonna have like a famous pop star come in, or someone, I don't know who, so that might boost sales. I think the test is gonna be post-Thanksgiving and how big it falls. Hamilton went from 99% to 100%, going from 1,751,671 to 2,293,884. Harmony went from 82% to 57%, and 625K to 522K, and that is just very bad. Honestly, I think this is already a flop. It's been on Broadway long enough for it to be, you know, for us to have substantial evidence, and the facts are Harmony is not doing well. I don't even know if it'll make it to the Tonys. I think it might, but I don't think it's worth it because it's not going to win Best Musical. Audiences don't seem to be digging with it a lot, and critics didn't love it. So I just think we're looking at we're gonna see some ugly numbers, and I don't know. I mean, here's the thing: if it does 4s and 5s, it will survive. But if we get into 3s and 2s, or like low 4s and 3s, it's not going to cut it. So we'll see. But again, I think we're looking at like a very mediocre business for Harmony, unfortunately. Here Lies Love ended its run very good with 99% capacity compared to last week's 92%, and 970K compared to last week's 730K. So I'm glad that Here Lies Love ended so well. How to Dance in Ohio went from 79% to 72% for 6 performances, and 315K last week to this week's 254K. Not great numbers for How to Dance in Ohio, very concerning. Yeah, I know that's 6 performances only, but again, most musicals don't perform that poorly, and I know the average ticket was only $58, but again, the capacity was still so low that I'm very concerned for How to Dance in Ohio. Again, if we can do 4s and 5s, it's fine, but anything past that, that's when we get into like, And again, doing 4s and 5s is not good, but they're doing the Tony play. They're playing the long run, but financially, this musical does not do well at 4s or 5s, but it will be able to meet expectations and pass just barely on 4s and 5s. But very concerning, because most musicals that are new don't start this low, or start low at 315K and then go down even lower. Very concerning. I know that people aren't the biggest fans of this. It's been getting a very mixed response from people. So, purely could just be the quality of the show, not because, you know, it's about autistic people. It just could be, it's just not that good. Kimberly Akimbo went from 85% to 80%, and 562K to 651K. Again, I don't know how that is still going on, but again, I don't want Kimberly Akimbo to close. I want it to go on forever and ever, so I'm glad that it's not going to close in January. I'm just wondering, where's the money coming from? Because again, Kimberly Akimbo was operating before the Tonys on losing money. And then they thought, we're going to win Best Musical, we're going to get more money, and they kind of stayed in the same pocket, and normally when that happens, it closes. So the fact that it still is open is a good thing. I just want to know how. Merrily, We Roll Along went from $1,884,000 to $2 million this week in 100% capacity, absolutely banking at the box office, the second best-selling musical after Hamilton. Moulin Rouge went from 96% to 99%, and $1,170,000 to $1,384,588. Shucked and Some Like It Hot both are closing. Shucked went from 77% to 89%, and 641K to 862K, and Some Like It Hot went from 65% to 76%, and 746K to 879K. 6 went from 87% to 98%, and 860K to 1,174,410. Sweeney made $2 million compared to last week's 994K, 100% capacity. The fact that we have two Sondheim musicals making $2 million and being like the top earning shows is amazing, and I wish Stephen Sondheim was still alive to see one of the biggest flops, now the biggest successes. And to top it all off, Spamilton surprised everyone, going from 81% to 90%, and 678K to 1,138,595, and the average ticket was only $95. That is incredible for Spamilton. I did not think it was going to do this well. I hope it continues to do this well, because I think that all musicals deserve to succeed, and a lot of people are saying this isn't selling well, this isn't doing well, and it's not technically selling well, but the fact that it was doing this well proves to me that they opened at the best time, because they will have another big surge for Christmas and break, and they will be able to survive January and February, and this will close earliest summer, but I think this can make it into next year, or at least the end of this year, and so that's great. So those are the grosses for this week. Overall, most musicals did very well because of Thanksgiving, but I definitely do think Harmony and How to Dance in Ohio are the two musicals that we need to be the most concerned about. If I had to put my money on what was to close first and what's gonna maybe not last super long, it's probably Harmony, but again, we will see. Let me know your thoughts, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.